Jesus describes, when your body can no longer be threatened by anything, it becomes immortal, eternal body, then perhaps when you eat something, it'll simply evaporate out of the skin. This infinitely improved atomic structure you will have as a fragrant aroma. So maybe no longer will we need to urinate. Maybe no longer will we need to defecate. Okay? So just imagine it can be perfect down to the smallest detail. We don't need stinging insects if the bats don't need food. We don't need death. We don't need hornets if we don't have death. Okay? We don't need sharks in the ocean if we don't have death. Right now we do, because they go clean up the ocean. And on and like that. So, all our problems stem from the original sin. That's where everything went haywire, went askew. This was the fall of man. This is when it became genetic. This was what with inbreeding. Inbreeding with beings we weren't supposed to. It hurt God very badly. As a result, evil got this power because it was in us now. We have death now. It wasn't something that happened instantaneously, but it came over time. So what we were told to believe that, hey, you're not going to die if you eat from this tree of knowledge of good and evil. You're not going to die. God's a liar. We believed the evil one, and we forsake our creator, our rightful owner, the sovereign God Almighty. And so this is why we need these thousands of years for this thing to play itself out. It's happening on God's time. But it's embedded in our DNA. So all that has to change someday. Everything has to be altered. But God has been trying to help us all along. So eventually, we will be freed. In the meantime, we should all fight the good fight and keep exposing the fruitless deeds of darkness and have nothing to do with them. Okay? We got to get into their minds. We got to get a few steps ahead of them, like they do in criminology, because in order to arrest these people and to stop them, we got to say, no, we see where you're going here, like on a chessboard. We see ahead of where he's going, so we're ahead of him and we can win. Okay? That's what we've got to do. And loving our enemy is an integral part of having the upper hand, having the power over our enemy through love. Like I said, they expect hatred. Don't give them what they expect. That's what they want. That's what they're comfortable with. Give them something they don't expect. They don't expect sincere, genuine love. Okay, because you have a right to do that. You have an obligation, because you have an obligation not to judge them in the sense that you're condemning them. And that's the only way you can say, I can't possibly love my enemy, because you've been the judge, jury, and executioner. That's what you've done by judging as defined by condemning them. So you can't condemn them. You've got to hold out your hand to the bitter end. Stay close to your friends and even close to your enemies. Okay? So there's logical, practical reasons to love your enemy. I'm trying to point out a few here. And the freedom, that I pointed out. Oh, how about the fact that love is stronger than hate? Who could deny that? This is it. This is where the power is. That love is stronger than hate. What is more attractive? So if these were magnets, if hate was on one end of the magnet and love was on the other end, okay, everything would come to hate. Everything gravitates to love. Love is the stronger of the two. What does an animal gravitate to? What's a dog? What's more likely going to come to you, because you love him or because you hate him? You're scolding him. How is he going to come to you? You're going to get the puppy dog to come to you with love. Okay? There's very practical reasons to do this thing. And so we've got to give people the benefit of the doubt. We've got to say to ourselves, well, look, maybe they are genuinely deceived. And we know how powerful beliefs are. That's where it all starts. They just believed somebody that was lying to them because they wanted to. You can say, yeah, but they had ulterior motives. They wanted to believe the lie. Okay? And so that's what's happening here. And so they're really just evil. They're become a deceiver too. Well, we don't know. We can't decipher. We're not God Almighty. We can't judge them. We can't judge the heart and mind of men. Those things are invisible. We could say their fruits stink to high heaven. We could point that out in trying to win somebody over that has been deceived, that we think might be a deceiver. But you can't judge in the sense of condemning. So you've got to do this thing. Jesus said it. I'm reiterating. I'm saying this is the answer. We've got to get close to these people. And this, the less we threaten them, the better off we are. We say, look, I don't want to kill you. I don't even want you destroyed economically. But you do need to go into this ethics rehabilitation center with all these nice, loving people till you're safe to be free in society and walk amongst men and women that want to be free, entirely free, not somewhat free. We've got to be wholly free. Wholly, and I mean that with a W. Wholly free means it's not if, ands, or buts. It's not partial. It's complete, thorough freedom, which brings that sense of security. And, of course, the prosperity comes with it, the liberty, all those things, the contentment, living together in peace and harmony, which is, the antithesis of what they want. So they keep trying to stir us up. They want us at each other's throats. And right now they've got us there, and they'd like to keep us there forever. So if your guy wins the White House, or your gal, whatever it is, then expect all the others to live in just, seething with they're pissed off and hateful and angry. And that's just tough. That's the way it has to be. But I can gloat in my victory and my guy wins, and so everything's coming up roses, and it's all going to be good for me and my set of special interest groups for what I want. And screw those guys, because I hate them anyhow. They're a bunch of bigots and racists and hypocrites and white supremacists, and I hate Donald Trump and this and that. And so that's good. Let them suffer. Let them stew, nanny boo boo. Right? Or conversely, the other way around. Whatever the case may be, this is where they want us. So we live the next 4 or 8 years in that kind of that paradigm. That's what they would love. So that's the greatest threat to these people, is that we ever wake up and point the finger at them. They're the enemy. They're the enemy. They're the ones that have got us at each other's throats, thinking our issues are Democrat, Republican, man, woman, socialist, Democrat, communist, Republican, capitalist. I mean, bull, black, white, nonsense. So listen, genuine love is befuddling, and it discombobulates these evildoers, the deceivers, the top guys, because they don't understand it. So it's very important, even though they believe that we're trying to trick them, that we're really trying to go in and deceive them. So we're acting like them to go in and say, I love you, man. You know what? But you got to stop this. Your fruits are rotten. They stink to high heaven. And cease and desist this, or one way or another, we're going to find a way to put you behind bars. Okay? So they're not going to trust you. And it's going to be very hard to win that trust, especially if all along you've been saying that you hate them. Because it's the words that come out of our mouth. First, they were incubated and harbored in our hearts, like Jesus said. This is what defiles a man. It's not what goes in his mouth, but it's what comes out of his mouth. And we can't hate a living being, a human being that is made in the image and likeness of God, for that is like hating God himself. We must love one another and just get to the bottom of this thing. So anyhow, folks, I've got to wrap it up here in a minute, and I'm going to check my notes and see if there's anything important I wanted to go over, but I'm long-winded again, and I apologize to anybody out there. But, if anything I say to anybody, strikes a chord, look, share it. That's all I ask, okay? That's all I want. I just want to be more happy. And I know that my way to happiness is through people waking up and becoming empowered and putting their foot down and saying no to oppression, saying no to allowing yourself to continue to be impoverished through the cost of living, the power to tax, the power to destroy you. Don't let it happen. And just object to anybody that's increasing your cost of living and saying, no, look, please, you're hurting me. This is painful. It's taking food out of my mouth, out of my children's mouth. It's making me desperate. Okay, and it feels really bad, and it scares me. Okay, and please help me here. Stop raising my cost of living. Stop raising my taxes. We've got to stop, separating the two and understand that the cost of living definitely is a tax. Please understand that, everybody out there, and put your foot down and say no, 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 no. So I've laid out some of the dark sciences of social Darwinian economic engineering. And you know about this debt, this is the most critical issue of all, folks. And we're not even confronting it all. Donald Trump at least wants to confront this issue because he knows things are going to keep getting worse as our currency keeps debasing. There's only three ways we can pay this back: through GDP, and they shipped all our industries overseas, so we're not going to do that. The other thing is by raising taxes, and that's not going to be successful either because the rich always find ways to evade their taxes. So that's not going to happen. So the way they've chosen to do it is through debasement of currency. So by destroying the worth of the money, okay, they pay it back with debased dollars. So the numbers are higher and the worth is down. And they can do this in perpetuity, folks. So anyhow, best everybody out there, and have a great week, and we'll talk again soon, I hope.